welcome to another live of Let's Talk Money with Friends. Every Wednesday, we get together to have a little chat with you because we believe the information that we're sharing is relevant and timely. And tonight's topic, every Wednesday night, we come up with really great topics. Tonight's topic is change matters. Why does change matter? Because of the fact that change is something that will happen whether you want it or not. It's one of those things that whether you believe in it or not, it's gonna happen. And we believe that they've said that there are two types of change that can happen to you. The first type is the internal changes that you can have. That's when you make the decision to make things happen for your life because you survey your environment or you survey your life and you say, you know what, I need to change some things. And the other type of change is the fact that they are external changes that will happen to you. And the best way to go about dealing those, because they are outside of your control, is to be receptive and to actually hone the tools and do the work that you need in order for you to adjust. So tonight I have two friends with me and they've been here before. I'm excited because we're going to have a really excited conversation with you about change and why does it matter. We have here our first guest is Anna. Anna, why don't you say hello? And then, of course, followed by Queen Dawn.
Peace, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Gabrielle, for having me on tonight. I am Anna DePina, and 5 years ago, I made a huge change. I left the teaching world and I came into the world of finance. And also before that, I was also going through a divorce. So I've had a lot of changes in my life. So I'm here just to add to the conversation and to learn. And that's all. Thank you. Thank you
Yes.
again.
Thank you, Anna, for being here tonight. And you, Queen Dawn?
Well, I've made some changes, especially in the last 5 years, more so and really after the pandemic. So I feel like if you should never be in the same spot last year that you are in this year. You should always elevate in advance. So when you asked me to be a part of this discussion, I was really excited to be a part of this discussion because I love sharing. So sharing is always caring. So thank you for the opportunity.
Definitely. So, as I mentioned, that the internal and the external changes that we'll have to experience and we'll have to work on. So, my very first question tonight is why is change important? Why is it important to embrace and look at change as an opportunity for you to grow, like you said, from where you were last year to this year? Either one of you can take it first.
Well, I believe change leads to personal and professional growth, and you really discover who you are because, you don't stay stagnant. You're always changing. You're growing. I have kids, so they're changing constantly. They're adolescents. One is about to be 18. So now it's a period of great change and renegotiating certain things. But, I think we're always changing. So we're always learning more about who we are. So I think change is good.
Yeah, definitely. What about you? I know last year we had 2020, so much was going on. What about you, Don? You said you've made some changes. Can you share a little bit and let us know why you think change is important?
Well, change is important because, like, I believe the pandemic needed to happen for people to really dig within themselves and know who they truly are and how that they are true survivors. And I always tell my clients that um, even relate not only financially and career wise, but relationship wise. Like a relationship should not be this year what it was last year because if your relationship is not elevating, you're in the wrong relationship and you're supposed to always support one another. You're not going to always agree, but I know I've grown, I've changed. My husband said I've changed, especially more over the past since I got my Reiki certification. And I said, what do you expect me not to grow? This is who I am.
Right.
And learning. And the wonderful thing about the conscious community and spiritual community is that you always, there's no ceiling to it. There's no ceiling in life. For real, for real. There's nothing that you can't accomplish. So if you don't want to elevate, then you need to dig deep within.
Yeah.
Because
So the
all
show
we
is, go ahead. The show is Let's Talk Money with Friends. And, every time again I think about, what should I do next? I'm always thinking about the opportunity for growth. And at the very beginning of the year, we talked about, creating a plan so that you could see yourself from where you are today to where you would like to be. Because again, that's progress, right? So I know my goal next week, very end, the last week of this month, which is gonna be, the end of the half of the year. We're gonna have a conversation with our audience and people who are interested in having that conversation regarding how far along have you come, from what you started, because I know I created my own plan. I'm always looking up because it's right here in front of me. I created it and I had a list of things that I wanted to check off, and guess what, I've done so much. I've been able to check off so many of them. So I'm wondering how many folks took the opportunity to do that, whether it was related to your health, your credit. We've talked about your retirement planning. We've talked about so many
relationship.
things, because
Yeah.
stagnation, being lazy, we were talking about that last, before we went live. Laziness is not someone who's sitting down and doing nothing. Laziness is someone who's doing the same thing repeatedly and not seeing anything coming, and it's not seeing any, it's almost like insanity. You don't see any difference. So when do you know it's time for a change? I mean, when do people know? I mean, based on your personal experiences, when do you think folks are like, okay, it's time for a change?
When you
Anna,
are re- when you're not happy,
correct. Yeah.
when you're not happy, because you can't be happy doing the same thing over and over again. I'm not judging, but I know I'm not where I was last year. Like this year, last year I started and got my business sanctioned, and with your help. Okay, even though I was certified as a master teacher, I needed to move and really put it together as a business. I changed three different search, I forgot what you call them, but companies to advertise my website with, to elevate my business to other higher platforms to reach a larger audience. Eventually I'm going to go nonprofit because there's people that need healing, there's people that need change, there's people that need new direction in their life. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just about me being my own boss and making money. I want to be able to help people.
So you're saying when you're not happy and when opportunities are presenting to you, like COVID-19, there's a new opportunity, and you kind of carpe diem. You seize that opportunity. What about you, Anna? When do you think it's time for change? When should people think about, okay, wait a second, it is time for a change?
Hmm.
Agree with what, Queen Dawn said, that, if you're not happy, you don't have joy about going to work, there's no peace in your life, everything is dysfunctional, or maybe it's not totally dysfunctional, but you just don't feel right. Like you show up and you're like, you can't bring your whole self to work. Um, and your spirit, it kind of is telling you, but also your body, sometimes you start getting sick, you start looking for reasons to not show up.
I
And if you
know.
don't listen, to what your body's telling you, to what your spirit's telling you, you can kind of sense it. Now, some people will turn it off and not really want to face the fact that they need to change. But, change can be active and passive. So if you're passive about it, it's still going to come. If you're active about it, at least you have some power and you can steer your ship and not be not let someone else come and send you to the direction they think you should go, but knowing where you want to go. And I love what Dr. Phil said one time, and this always stuck with me. I read it in a magazine. He said, make a decision not based on what you are running from, but based on what you're running towards. Like, don't make a decision because you're like, I hate this job, I hate these people.
Fear. Fear.
But make that decision based on, okay, this is what I want out of life. This is where I want to be.
Right.
I need to get to, X, I'm going to have to do certain things to get there. But make decisions based on where you want to see yourself and where you want your life to be.
Yeah, definitely. It makes sense. So if you're watching here and you're thinking, wait a second, I'm not happy. I'm not happy with my weight. And we talked about holistic health, wealth. Your health is your wealth. And you're not happy. I was just talking to a friend earlier. She said, COVID-19 kind of threw me off and haven't been going out to run like I used to. And I said, well, let's start this week. I'm going out tomorrow. Let's do it together. She's a neighbor. So it's very important that you take, like you say, being very active and not be passive, because actually things will happen to you. You'll find yourself being called at the office and said, "Listen, I'm sorry, but we no longer have space for you here. The company is cutting back, and we have to let you go." That's something you didn't expect. But if you've been doing things for yourself, networking and building your resume and helping yourself, building yourself, then you'll be ready no matter what comes your way. And I think that's the important part. Creating a plan for where you want to go, not let life happens to you. So I know that it's easier said than done. We've been in environments where, like, oh my gosh, you try to go left and somebody's pulling you right. You try to go right, they pull you left, and you have the naysayers who never see anything beyond what is obvious. So, what do you do if you are in an environment and you can see that change is not welcome, but you are looking to make some major changes in your life? What do you do in that situation? I mean, what have you done in that situation, Dawn? What should people, our viewers who are watching right now, do if they are in an environment
That
and
that's called stagnation, stagnant energy. So if you're going to be with someone, even in relationships, it's scientifically proven that, we're like funnels. So just because we have this distance between us is not really, it's an illusion. We're really right in front of each other. So you have to be careful who you connect with. So, if you don't change, you don't, like, I have seen people, like, I believe in my heart that everyone should have their own business. So if you're in a relationship, platonic or business wise or personal, and it's not growing and you don't feel comfortable in it, remove yourself from it, because it's going to stagnate you and you're not going to grow. You're going to be stressful. If I don't like something, I don't go places I'm not wanted. I don't go places that I can't grow. And if I can't grow, then you're clipping my wings. So I'm not going to
sometimes
be
it's
the
not,
same person this year or next. I'm not going to be the same person next year that I am this year. There's not a day that goes by I'm not going to change, because we all are getting older. But I would like to say we're getting wiser.
but sometimes it's not easy though. You had a job and you need that job, you need the income, you need the insurance, you need everything, and you have no ideas. You could tell that there's a need for change in that environment, and folks who are there are very comfortable. What do you do, Anna?
I would say first make an actual plan and see if who you can find who can help you. If it's not in the organization, then look outside of the organization. Ask questions, ask other people in the industry. And if you don't know anyone in the industry, ask other people if they know somebody in the industry that you're in, whether you're a small business owner or whether you're an accountant, whatever you do. But find other people that can help lead you on the path that they've already taken that path, so they can guide you along the path. But remember, sometimes, you know obviously any decision to change is difficult. So I think we put a lot of stress on ourselves, unnecessary stress. So I've just been learning something simple called the word no.
Mm-hmm.
Like she said, if you, like Miss Dawn, Queen Dawn said, like, if you don't want to go somewhere, don't go. Use the word no. Think
Mm-hmm.
about yourself. Don't always, we tend to put ourselves last,
Yep.
whether it's at work, at home, I before doing this, I was cooking dinner, like there's so much we have to do, but sometimes I'm like, okay, I can't do it all. So I can't, I just, it's impossible. So let me figure out what can I do? Let me figure out how I can ease into something else, little pacing myself little at a time. If I say, okay, I can't do this today, but let me put it on my list for tomorrow or next week, and then eventually, those little steps, like I think it's a proverb that says journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. Like, you got to take that initial step, but don't stress yourself over it. What I'm saying? Just take your time, find the right people, and eventually you're going to get there. It may take a long time, but that's okay. Like, give yourself grace. Like, you're going to get there. Know your limitations, even though we said there's no limits, but know, you want to be your best self, and you can't be your best self if, you're always on E, you're just not, you're not going to be good to anybody, so you always have to replenish yourself, and make sure you're just keeping your priorities. What's the most important thing? Like, when I became a single mom, I would ask myself every day, what must be done today? Like, do I really got to do laundry before I leave for work? That must be done. So, and that's how I, navigate doing what absolutely must be done. And then what I can ask someone else to do or delegate, whatever. But knowing that I have to know that I'm at a good place myself, then I will be able to be useful to others if I'm also useful to myself.
Yeah. And that's so important. And I think as well, if you are in a situation right now, if you're watching and you're saying like, I'm looking for a change, and everybody around you is holding you back, you have to understand. And I think Queen Dawn had said it offline, that not everybody's gonna be in the very same space at the same time as you. So you have to realize that just because you're there and you are looking for a change, not everybody's going to try to do that. Not everybody's ready for that. So if you are feeling frustrated, it's because you want that change. Find an avenue. If you had a job and you really need the job, but things are not happening there, find another avenue. Because sometimes volunteer someplace else could help you. I was talking to a friend on Sunday, and she said, I studied volunteering in my community, and I was able to find a better job. I started doing something different. You got to do something different. You have to reposition yourself. I think it was T.D. Jakes wrote a book years ago, Repositioning Yourself. Sometimes you need to do that because the people around you want to hold you back, and they don't see in you what you visualizing for yourself. So you gotta reposition yourself so that you can find. Because again, the next question is why are so many afraid to change? Change is not easy, right? Why do you think so many people are afraid to take that to change?
Self-doubt.
Yeah.
Self-doubt. Some people just don't believe enough in themselves. Society we have been taught to think 96% negative, and not to believe in our true selves and to believe in our true power and how much more powerful we are, how much more loved we are. God loves us. I mean, whatever anyone's religious beliefs are, I don't go into that, but I'm saying we are so much more phenomenal and loved than we realize. We're always focusing on the negative and afraid to elevate, afraid to change. They're comfortable. That's a comfort zone for them. That's home for them to not to change, to be stagnant. This thing right here and this thing right here, the most powerful muscles on your body is your tongue and your brain. And that tongue can speak you into stagnation and into not changing. God says, ask and you shall receive. So if you say, God, oh God, please, I need a new job. Oh God, why is this happening to me? Oh God, why is this person treating me like this? Oh God, oh God, oh God, why is it? And he's like, well, you keep sending me that energy, and that's what you're going to keep getting because that's what you're focusing when you're not believing in yourself. So when you start believing in yourself, then you see your life start changing.
And I remember you said earlier, thank you, Dawn. You said earlier, it's one step at a time. You take that one step, If you, again, going back to your health and just like your diet or a job, you looking to lose weight, you're looking to do something as tangible as, eating healthier, you just have to take one step, right? And then get accountability. Because I think one of the points that we had talked about is the fact that not everybody gets that support. Do you agree,
Yeah.
Anna? Like that lack of support, that's why the fear is there.
Well, obviously there's a lack of support, but now, especially with the internet, like I will just go on and YouTube something. If, I'm like, okay, well, I'm having an issue with this area. There's a wealth of information and support out there. And I've met so many new women. Literally, I don't know these people, but I started following them and they give, great advice, whether it's, for your professional life, whether it's for your, how to deal with your children. There's so much information out there that literally you just have to Google it sometimes. But I
Frequently.
think people are afraid to change because of fear, and fear is a very powerful, I believe, a spirit. But, you know, I'm not motivated by fear. A lot of people are, and a lot of companies, they advertise through fear because it's so powerful. People make so many decisions based on fear. I don't want to do this because this might happen, or, you're already, like she said, self-doubt, you're already saying it's not going to work. You're already saying it's not going to happen. So why put any effort into it when you already think it's not going to happen? But I like this quote I found online one time, and it said, choose your hard. And it said, marriage is hard, divorce is hard, choose your hard. Then it
Life
just
is hard.
exactly. So it just kept going down the line, giving different examples, but it was basically saying like everything is hard. You can't say I don't want to start a business because it's hard. You can't say I don't want to get married because it's hard, or I don't want to get divorced because it's hard. It's like you have to choose your hard. You have to choose. Life is going to have difficulties. It's going to have stress. That's just life. Life is full of, you know, anything can happen, but you still have to find, the joy in life. You still have to find like that, the purpose that you have for being here. And, like, Queen Dawn said, during the pandemic, a lot of people are finding their purpose. They are trying to seek, ways of bettering their lives, or just, I think someone else online said, purpose is the new bottom line, you know,
Definitely.
which that was never the case, especially in business. That's never the case. People are just out there trying to make, their money, blah, blah, blah. But they're like, well, if you don't have purpose in doing it, then a lot of people who just focus on money, they end up having heart attacks because they're not taking care of their health. They don't have good relationships with their family members, the people that they should be close to, because all they're focused on, is getting more money. So they don't care how they treat people. But coming back and in conclusion, I just think it's difficult, but it's necessary, and that you shouldn't make decisions based on fear. And if, you're a person of faith, then we know that faith without works is dead. So you can't say you have faith and not have anything to show for that faith, you
And
know.
it's, yeah, and I'm so glad you said that. It's work. It's hard. A job is hard, right? There are some folks right now who are driving 2, 3 hours to and from work, and they've been thinking about that dream that they have, that business idea, but they're afraid to launch it because of the fear, and yet they're struggling through 2 hours worth of traffic back and forth every day. And also too, you talked about like looking for resources, Anna, right? And Dawn too. Like resources are everywhere, right? You have the Google University, you have folks who are available. We do this program here every Wednesday because we believe wholeheartedly that we have something to share. But you have folks who are looking for change, but yet they will not pick up a book, they will not go to a seminar. Everything is too expensive and too hard, right? The investment, they will not do it in themselves, right? If you're not willing to invest in yourself, everything is going to be hard. I remember someone said to me, well, you're so bold. You are able to do this and you are able to be on camera. Well, I don't believe Zoom is camera, but they say it's camera. You are able to do this and you don't mind what people judgments and everything. I'm like, honey, before I was able to do this, I did the work. You know, I remember writing those checks to go to seminars so that I would become comfortable and have the self-confidence to say, okay, I'm able to go in front of audience and speak, but also to feed in myself. You know, I have a friend of mine, very close friend, she just sent me a book, and I told her I was going to share that book. And it has nothing to do with what we're talking about now, but yet it does. And it's diversifying power, diversifying power. I'm going to take a picture. And this is a young woman that I met in Boston. You know, you never know who people are until you get to know them, right? And she wrote this book, and she sent me a copy, a signed copy. And I was like, oh, let me read through it, right? Because I wanted to have a conversation with her about her book. And I just sent her an email today saying like how much this has changed me and my perception about her too. Because you see folks and you think you know them. Her name is Jenny Stevens, and the book is Diversifying Power, and it's about, you know, climate change and leadership and anti-racism and feminist leadership. There's so much, right? But going back to my point is that you have to invest in yourself. The fear comes, you know, I joke all the time, and I think it's right. Fear is for those who don't get out much, for those who don't pick up enough books, for those who don't get engaged enough. You will have fear to change your life because you refuse to take that first step. You talked about Anna. You got to take that first step. If you want to lose that 20, 30 pounds, you have to take that first step. Get out. It's beautiful outside now. Get up and call a friend or call Google, call Zoom, call somebody else. You know, there are so many groups out there that could help you. So with that being said, we are running out of time. I never want to leave here without saying something positive that folks can, actually some action plans, I should say. What can we do today? We, including myself and you and everybody else, you think, to embrace change? What can we do today to start embracing change? If you've been having problems with that idea.
Well, I can say something. Meditation. You should meditate. You know, you remember I'm a past life regression therapist and a future life regression therapist. So, what I learned in my studies is that you should always, the first hour you wake up and the last hour before you go to sleep are the most powerful hours of your day, because those are your subconscious hours, and you're in that theta wave state of mind. So when you're in that theta wave state of mind, whatever you see or experience is going to manifest quicker than it is when you're in your conscious mind. So meditate as soon as you wake up, or do affirmations. Do the 33 times 3, where you write something 33 times for 3 days within the first hour. As soon as you wake up, after you go to the bathroom, you drink water. And then sit up and meditate, because if you lay down, you're going to go back to sleep. So you should find at least 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes in the evening just to meditate, just to keep your mind still from focusing on this, that, and the other, all the things that are going to stress you out. So I would suggest that would be the first thing I suggest, and change, and also drink more water.
Definitely. Get hydrated. And you, Anna, what would you advise?
Say what Nike says, just do it. Like, stop making excuses. Stop, like, you know, there's always gonna be an excuse. You're too tired.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got a million other things to do. You rather get a paycheck, whatever. You know, there's always gonna be a reason not to do it. And even if, you know, I think somebody's pastor said this, like, okay, if you're afraid, then do it afraid. Like, just do it. Like, which I've never met this pastor, but I was like, okay, that's, just do it. You know, don't wait for somebody else to push you, because nobody might come to push you.
True.
You know, nobody might come and give you an encouraging word. Nobody might care if you succeed or fail. But, you know, you need to do it because it's something that God put in your heart, or, you know, whatever you believe in, that it's there for a reason, that you have a purpose in life. So, you know, and it's hard, because I will tell you, I feel like I had well, not that I had a purpose, but I got steered away from my purpose. And like coming back to your purpose, it's just so hard, because once you make those little steps that add up over time, Like coming to where you should be is hard. And it requires that, like, okay, intentionality, like, okay, I know where I should be and I'm not there yet, and I'm not. But I got to do those, like I said, the little steps to get me to where I really feel I flourish. And also, like, knowing yourself, self-awareness. Like, if you know who you are, then you're not really going to waste time. As soon as those red flags and those toxic people show up, you're just gonna, like, you know what, like, if they call your phone, you ain't gonna pick up because you're like, I can't deal with that person today. They're gonna drain whatever little energy I got left to do the stuff I gotta do. So I'm gonna let them go for now. I'll reach back to them later when I'm in a different space and I can deal with them. So like I said, know yourself, know your limits, and know, like, hey, even if you're not there yet, at least you're working towards that goal. And eventually you will get there. And that's okay, because sometimes it's not just about, what is it? It's about the journey and not necessarily the destination. So that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Yeah, and definitely know yourself. And you said purpose is the new bottom line, right? Be
I didn't say
purposeful.
that. Another person who I follow online.
Well, you borrowing it, but I want to borrow it too. Purpose is the new bottom line, meaning like your purpose is more important than the outcome, right? So definitely be purposeful. And I also heard multiple times that you all said, take one step. I've heard it said that take one thing will lead to another. One thing will lead to another. So you got to take that one step. Create a plan. I was talking to a friend who was at home in the closet. I guess she was sleeping in in the dark room, depressed. And I said, why don't you get up, open the window, and then start writing what you're gonna do today? Maybe clean one place in your house. Write a plan, do something, because I know for me, without a plan, I don't get anything done. I have to write it down. So, and of course, you mentioned that you may not find like all the support that you need, but there are folks out there. And that's why that one thing will lead to another. You come out and start running, or you come out and start walking in the morning, you come out and start going to the gym. Guess what? You're going to find friends who are doing the same thing. So you will get accountability partners who can help you. So our goal and objective today was to let you know that, listen, change will happen. Whether you decided to do internal changes where you make the decision to make those changes and work towards bettering yourself every day by reading your books, by exercising, by going to seminars, by empowering yourself, or you have to react to external changes that will happen to you and you'll have no choices. So I encourage you today to do what you need to do. And I thank you, ladies, for being on the show tonight. And yeah, we're here to encourage our audience. And we hope and pray that you take actions today. Do something, one thing, and that one thing will lead to another. Good night.